Hi everyone, and welcome to Noodle Journey. Today marks a pretty interesting review milestone with our look at Myojo's Shio Tonkotsu flavor. Yes, you might not be able to tell just from me holding this package, but this is my first refrigerated instant ramen variety review on this channel. You may remember from my channel introduction video that I have a lot of Korean noodles to get through in my queue, but since this is a fresh product that I bought on a whim, it really couldn't wait. So I'll get back to those Korean noodles real soon. And also, I want to eat this, like, right now. Just saying. So yeah, everything I've reviewed on this channel before now has been a shelf-stable dry product, but this can only be found in the refrigerated or frozen section of your local Asian grocery store. The H Mart nearest to me had this in the refrigerated noodle section for $5.99. Since there are 2 full servings in here, that's a $3 price point for a 6-ounce serving of fresh ramen. Not bad at all. As promised in episode 19, this is one of those premium brands that is much cheaper than Ichiran Tonkatsu. Sorry to those of you who like to mail order, but unless you find a website that is willing to do fast shipping with cold packing, this is probably something you'll only find in a store. So if you have an H Mart or other Asian market nearby, check it out. Myojo is a Japanese company established in 1950 with a presence in the USA as a subsidiary of Nissin, and they get recommended pretty frequently as some pretty top shelf ramen by Reddit users, and so I was excited to spot this at H Mart. There are a few other varieties in the refrigerated section, and Myojo also makes dried instant noodle products that you might spot. I've got a really interesting dried package from Myojo coming up eventually that you all might dig, but let's focus on this one for now. Maybe you already know these broth terms from my other reviews, but for those that don't, Shio is a light salt broth with lots of ingredient variations, and Tonkatsu is a thick pork bone broth. So this is a combination of those 2 styles of broth. So let's check this package out and see what we've got in here. This is very authentically salty at 2,800 milligrams of sodium per serving, which is 122% of your daily allowance. I think we've learned by now that a lot of this stuff is always going to be salty, so if you buy this, do not drink all of this broth if you're watching your sodium intake. Inside this package are 2 packs of noodles and 2 packs of soup base. The noodles are a wheat noodle fortified with tapioca starch and egg, and the soup base is actual pork extract, rendered pork fat, concentrated pork stock, and your usual combo of soy sauce, onion, and garlic. Oh, and of course salt. Lots of salt. Everywhere. To cook this, we actually need 2 separate instances of boiling water. One for the noodles, one for the soup. So let's get that started. So let's start with the noodles. We're going to boil 4 cups of water, add in the noodles, and cook for 2 minutes, or 3 minutes if these were frozen. While the noodles cook, pour the soup base into your serving bowl. Add 1 1/4 cups of boiling water from another pot or hot water dispenser, and mix this up. And it looks like there's some lumps in here, so just make sure that all of that comes out as you're stirring. Drain the noodles and add them in. And stir all of this together. I left the noodles sitting in a strainer while I was getting everything set up for this shot, and so it looks like they might have stuck together, and I think that might be my fault and not the fault of the product. So I'm just working out some of this clumpiness into something resembling a nice presentation. All right, hopefully that's good enough. So this smells fantastic, and you can see that the presentation out of the bag, this really thick, milky soup, is really nice. It's begging to be spruced up like a fancy tonkatsu, but you know the rules. The base product always gets reviewed first without any add-ins. So as much as I want to throw some scallions or pork or fish cake into this, I will wait until the camera's off and maybe film a hack down the road with the other serving from the bag. Let's eat. Okay. First off, there's nothing in here that I could consider spicy unless you are very sensitive to ginger or garlic. So let's give this a 0 out of 10 on the spiciness scale with that caveat. Despite me screwing up the noodles and them clumping together a little bit between the time it took me to set up shots, the noodles are excellent. They're thin, which I was aware of because of the packaging, and despite the fact that they're thin, they are of excellent quality. They have a great chewiness. They work perfectly with this broth. And yeah, fresh noodles are going to beat out dried noodles just about all the time, right? These noodles are a 10 out of 10. They're spectacular. And now the flavor of the broth. So this is a pretty standard tonkatsu flavor. Onion, garlic, ginger, soy sauce, nothing surprising in here. I'm not sure exactly where the Shio part comes in because this is pretty straightforward as a tonkatsu. I mean, I guess the Shio is because it's salty. But look at this milky broth. This is exactly what a restaurant tonkatsu looks like, and this is pretty much what you're getting right here. The ginger, garlic, onion flavor, everything is really well balanced. It's not overwhelmingly any of those things. It's just all nicely mixed together. It tastes as good as what I've gotten in restaurants before. And the consistency of it, which was my main sticking point with Ichiran, that their broth was a little too watery, that is not the case here. Look at this. That is a beautiful, thick tonkatsu. The only downside, of course, is there's no mix-ins with this. There's no fresh vegetables that came with this package, not even green onion, which I'm a little surprised about. But all that is to say that this is a $3 bowl of ramen that you can add things to, and it won't break the bank. So I'm going to knock off just a little bit because of the fact that it doesn't come with anything to mix in. But otherwise, this is a 9.5 out of 10 overall. Fantastic flavor, fantastic consistency, and the noodles are unbeatable. So yeah, it's fair to say that this is incredibly good. Let's play a new game that I think I'll have to do with every premium tonkatsu review going forward. Is it better than Ichiran? In a word, yes. This beats out Ichiran in every conceivable way: noodles, flavor, and most importantly, price. With one important factor to consider: it potentially lacks availability for you as a consumer. This is a fresh product, and so you have to have a nearby store that stocks it. So from that perspective, Ichiran is still the current tonkatsu champ, despite the price tag, if you rely on your noodles to be shipped instead of purchased locally. But if you have the option and want a premium tonkatsu experience for $3 for a bowl, please seek this out now and thank me later. I think it's obvious by now that I'm kind of on a tonkatsu quest because it's my favorite of the Japanese ramen styles, but I'll take a little break from tonkatsu for the next few episodes so that we can focus on other flavors. Is there anything you'd like to see reviewed, or have you tried some other flavors from Myojo and want to tell me which ones I should try next? Please let me know in the comments. And as always, please like and subscribe to continue on this noodle journey with me.